open this green screen up. Let's see. I'm on page 667. Believe it or not. Within book 4, chapter 5, The Window on the West. Within the Lord of the Ring. Okay. Okay, here we go. There's our little Mordor right there. Now, where are they now? Oh, excuse me. I think they're about here. At the top. Right at the top over there where my finger's at. Right around there. I think they're around there. God, excuse me. I had to go literally. Hold on 1 second. I got to get another bottle of water just in case. Hold on. All right, so I'll be fine. Let's see. I'll sit down. Let's see where we go. My extra bottle of water. I'm ready to read. Okay, so everyone. So I think that they are on top of Mordor. I think that, yeah, right at the top. If I can get my finger up in there. But anyway, Okay. Page 667. Alas, said Frodo, that was indeed Boromir as I knew him. For the golden belt was given to him in Lothlorien by the Lady Galadriel. She it was that clothed us as you see us, in elfin grey. The brooch is of the same workmanship. He touched the green and silver leaf that fastened his cloak beneath his throat. Faramir looked closely at it. It is beautiful, he said. Yes, 'tis work of the same craft. So then you passed through the land of Lorien, Lendorena. It was named of old, but long now it has lain beyond the knowledge of men. He added softly, regarding Frodo with a new wonder in his eyes. Much that was strange about you, I begin to now understand. Will you not tell me more? For it is a bitter thought that Boromir died within sight of the land of his home. No more can I say than I have said, answered Frodo, though your tale fills me with foreboding. A vision it was that you saw, I think, and no more. Some shadow of ill fortune that has been or will be. Unless indeed it is some lying trick of the enemy. I have seen the faces of fair warriors, of old laid in sleep beneath the pools of the dead marshes, or seeming so by his foul arts. Nay, it was not so, said Faramir, for his works fill the heart with loathing, but my heart was filled with grief and pity. Yet how could such a thing have happened in truth? Asked Frodo. For no boat could have been carried over the stony hills from Tol Brodir, and Boromir proposed to go home, across the Entwash and the fields of Rohan. And yet how could any vessel ride the foam of the great falls, and not founder in the boiling pools, though laden with water? I know not, said Faramir, but whence came the boats? The Lorien, said Frodo, and 3 such boats we rowed down Anduin to the falls. They also were of elfin work. You passed through the hidden lands, said Faramir, but it seems that you little understood its power. If men have dealings with the mistress of magic, who dwells with the golden wood, then they may look for strange things to follow. For it is perilous for mortal man to walk out of the world of the sun, and few of old came thence unchanged. It said, Boromir, oh Boromir, he cried. What did she say to you? The lady that dies not? What did she see? What woke in your heart then? What went? Why went? Why went you ever to Laurel Lindoranon, and came not by your own road, upon the horses of Rohan, riding home in the morning? Then, turning again to Frodo, he spoke in a quiet voice once more. To those questions, I guess that you could make some answer, Frodo, son of Drogo. but not here or now, maybe. But lest you still should think my tale a vision, I will tell you this. The horn of Boromir at least returned in truth and not in seeming. The horn came, but it was cloven in two, as if it were by axe or sword. The shards came severally to shore. One was found among the reeds where watchers of Gondor lay. Northwards, below the infalls of the Itwash, the other was found spinning on the flood, like one who had entered on the water. Strange chances, but murder will out to set. And now the horn of the elder son lies in two pieces upon the lap of Denethor, sitting in his high chair waiting for news. And you can't tell me nothing of the cleaving of the horn. No, I did not know of it, said Frodo, but the day when you heard it blowing, if your reckoning is true, was the day when we parted, when I and my servants left the company, and now your tale fills me with dread. For if Boromir was then in peril and was slain, I must fear that all my companions perished too. And they were my kindred and my friends. Will you not put aside your doubt of me and let me go? I am weary and full of grief and afraid. What I have a deed to do are to attempt. More, I too am slain, and the more need of haste, if we two halflings are all that remain of our fellowship. Go back, Faramir, valiant captain of Gondor, and defend your city while you may, and let me go where my doom takes me. For me, there is no comfort in our speech together, said Faramir, but ye surely draw from it more dread than need be, unless the people of Lorien themselves came to him, who arrayed Boromir as for funeral. Not orcs are servants of the nameless. Some in your company, I guess, live still. But whatever befell on the north march you, Frodo, I doubt no longer. If hard days have made me any judge of men's words and faces, then I may make a guess at halflings. Though and now he smiled. There's something strange about you, Frodo. An elfish, sir? Maybe. But more lies upon our words together than I thought at first. I should now take you back to Minas to answer there to Denethor, and my life will justly be forfeit if I now choose a course that proves ill for my city. So I will not decide in haste what is to be done. Yet we must move hence without more delay. He sprang to his feet and issued some orders. At once the men who were gathered round him broke up. into small groups and went off this way and that, vanishing quickly into the shadows of the rocks and trees. Seeing only Malbach and Danwald remained. Now you, Frodo and Samwise, will come with me and my guards, said Boromir. You cannot go along the road southwards if that was your purpose. It will be unsafe for some days, and always more closely watched after this fray than it has been yet. And you cannot, I think, go far today, in any case for you are wary. And so are we. We are going now to a secret place we have, somewhat less than 10 miles from here. The orcs, the spies of the enemy, have not found it yet. And if they did, we could hold it long, even against many. There we may lie up and rest for a while, and you with us. In the morning I will decide what is best for me to do, and for you. There was nothing for Frodo to do but to fall in with this request or order. It seemed, in any case, a wise course for the moment, since this foray of the men of Gondor had made a journey infinitely more dangerous than ever. They set out at once, Mulbrook and Denmark a little ahead, and Faramir with Frodo and Sam behind, skirting the hither side of this pool, where the hobbits had bathed. They crossed the stream, climbed a long bank, and passed a green shadowed woodlands that marched ever downwards and westwards. While they walked as swiftly as hobbits can go, they talked in hushed voices. It broke off our speech together, said Faramir, not only because because time pressed, as Master Samwise had reminded me, but also because we were drawing near to matters that were far not debated openly before many men. It was for that reason I turned rather to the matter of my brother and let Isildur's bane. You were not wholly frank with me, Frodo. I told no lies, and of the truth all I could, said Frodo. I do not blame you, said Faramir. You spoke with skill in a hard place and wisely, it seemed to me, but I learned, or guessed, more from you than your words said. You were not friendly with Boromir, or you did not part with friendship. You and Master Samwise, too, I guess, have some grievance. Now, I loved him dearly, and I would gladly avenge his death. Yet I knew him well, Isildur's bane. I would hazard that Isildur's bane lay between you and was the cause of contention in your company. But clearly it is a mighty heirloom of some sort, and such things do not breed peace among confederates, if not if aught may be learned from ancient tales. Do I not hit near the mark? Near, said Frodo, but not in the gold. There was no contention in our company, though there was doubt. Doubt which way we should take from the Innill, but that as it may. Ancient tales teach us also the peril of rash words concerning such things as heirlooms. Ah, then it is as I thought. Your trouble was with Boromir alone. he wished this thing brought to Minnesota. Alas, it is a crooked fate that seals your lips who saw him last, and holds from me that which I long to know, what was in his heart, and thought in his latest hours, whether he erred or not. Of this I am sure. He died well, achieving something good thing. His face was more beautiful than in life. But Frodo, I pressed you hard at first about Isildur's bane. Forgive me. It was unwise in such an hour and place. I had not had time for thought. We had a hard fight, but there was more than enough to fill my mind. But even as I spoke with you, I drew near to the mark and so deliberately shot wider. For you must know that much is still preserved of ancient lore among the rulers of the city that is not uh, spread abroad. We of my house are not of the line of Illendale, though the blood of Numenor is in us. For we reckon back our line to Mordil, the good steward, who ruled in the king's stead when he went away to war, and that was King Ener, last of the line of Anarion, and childless, and he came never back. And the stewards have governed the city since that day, though it was many generations of men ago. And this I remember of Boromir as a boy, when we together learned of the tale of our sires and the history of our city, that always it displeased him that his father was not king. How many hundreds of years needs it to make a steward a king? If the king returns not, he asks. Few years, maybe, in other places of less royalty. My father answered, in Gondor, 10,000 years would not suffice. Alas, poor Boromir, does that not tell you something of him? It does, said Frodo. Yet always he treated Aragorn with honor. I doubt it not, said Faramir. If he were satisfied with Aragorn's claim, as you say, he would greatly reverence him. But the pinch had not yet come. They had not yet reached Minas Tirith or became rivals in her wars. But I stray. We in the house of Denethor know much ancient lore by long tradition, and there are moreover in our treasuries many things preserved. Books and tablets writ on withered parchments, yea, and on stone, and on leaves of silver, and on gold, in divers characters. Some none can now read, and for the rest, few ever unlock them. I can read a little in them, for I have had teaching. It was these records that brought the gray pilgrim to us. I first saw him when I was a child, and he has been twice or thrice since then. The gray pilgrim, said Frodo. Had he a name? Mithradir, we called him in elf fashion, said Faramir, and he was content. Many are my names in many countries, he said. Mithradir among the elves, Tharkin to the dwarves, Orion, I was in my youth, in the west that is forgotten, in the south, Incanus, in the North Gandalf. To the east I go not. Gandalf, said Frodo. I thought it was he, Gandalf the Grey, dearest of counselors, leader of our company. He was lost in Moria. Moria. Mithridir was lost, said Faramir. An evil fate seems to have pursued your fellowship. It is hard, indeed, to believe that one of so great wisdom and of power, for many wonderful things he did among us, could perish, and so much lore be taken from the world. Are you sure of this? And that he did not just leave you and depart where he would? Alas, yes, said Frodo. I saw him fall into the abyss. I see that there is some great tale of dread in this, said Faramir, which perhaps you may tell me in the evening time. This Mithridir was, I now guess, more than a lore master, a great weaver of the deeds that are done in our time. Had he been among us to consult concerning the hard words of our dream? Had he been among us to consult concerning the hard words of our dream, he could have made them clear to us without need of messenger. Yet maybe he would not have done so, and the journey of Vermeer was doomed. Mithridir never spoke to us of what was to be, nor did he reveal his purposes. He got leave of Denethor, how I did not know, to look to the secrets of our treasury, and I learned a little of him when he would teach, and that was seldom. Ever he would search and would question us above all else concerning the great battle that was fought upon Dagorlad in the beginning of Gondor, when he whom we do not name was overthrown, and he was eager to stories of Elzadar, though of him we had less to tell, for nothing certain was ever known among us of his end. Now Faramir's voice sank to a whisper. Mm. Mm. I'm trying to figure this out. One, two, yeah, that's where I want to start. Sorry, folks, I had to figure out when I was going to start. Okay. So, and I learned little of him was, and when he would teach and what was seldom when the church and would question us about else concerning the great battle that was fought upon the bigger land at the beginning of all that. When whom he did not name, was overthrown, and he was eager for stories of Isildur, though of him he had less to tell. For nothing certain was ever known among us of his end. Now, there you go. Now, Faramir's voice sank to a whisper, but this much I learned or guessed, and I have kept it ever secret in my heart since that Isildur took somewhat from the hand of the unnamed. Ere he went away from Gondor, never to be seen among royal men again. Here I thought was the answer to Mithrilda's questioning, but it seemed in a matter that concerned only the seekers after ancient learning, nor when the riddling words of our dream were debated among us, did I think of Isildur's bane as being this same thing. For Isildur was ambushed and slain by orc arrows, according to the lonely legend that we knew, that Mithridir, our Merrill told me more. What intrigued this thing is I cannot yet guess. With some alien power and peril it must be. A fell weapon, perchance devised by the Dark Lord. If it were a thing that gave advantage in battle, I can well believe that Bernir, the proud and fearless, often rash, ever anxious for the victory of Tinas Tirith, and his own glory therein, might desire such a thing, and be allured by it. Alas, that ever he went on that errand, I should have been chosen by my father and the elders, but he put himself forward as being the elder and the harder, both true, and he would not be stayed. But fear no more. I would not take this thing if I lay by the highway, not were Minas Tirith falling in ruin, and I alone could save her. So, using the weapon of the Dark Lord for her good and my glory. No, I do not wish for such triumphs, Frodo, son of Drogo. Neither did the council, said Frodo, nor do I. I would have nothing to do with such matters. For myself, said Faramir, I would see the white tree in flower again in the courts of the kings, and the silver crown return, and Minas Tirith in peace. Minas of Nor again as of old and full of light, high and fair, beautiful as a queen among other queens, not a mistress of many slaves, nay, not even a kind mistress of willing slaves. War must be while we defend our lives against the destroyer who would devour all. But I do not love the bright sword for its sharpness, nor the arrow for its swiftness, nor the warrior for his glory. I love only that which they defend, the city of the men of Numenor, and I would have her love for her memory, her ancestry, her beauty, and for present wisdom, not fear, save as men may fear the dignity of a man old and wise. So fear me not. I do not ask you to tell me more. I do not even ask you to tell me whether I now speak near the mark. But if you will trust me, it may be that I can advise you in your present quest, whatever that may be, yes, and even aid you. Frodo made no answer. Almost he yielded to the desire for help and counsel to tell this grave young man, whose words seemed so wise and fair, all that was in his mind, but something held him back. His heart was heavy with fear and sorrow. If he and Sam were indeed, as seemed likely, all that was now left of the 9 walkers, then was he what then he was in sole command of the secret of their errand. Better mistrust undeserved than rash words. And the memory of Boromir, of the dreadful change that the lore of the ring had worked in him, was very present to his mind when he looked at Boromir and listened to his voice. Unlike they were, and yet also much akin. They walked on in silence for a while, passing like gray and green shadows under the old trees, their feet making no sound. Above them many birds sang, and the sun glistened on the polished roof of dark leaves in the evergreen woods of Inthilling. Sam had taken no part in the conversation, though he had listened, and at the same time he had attended with his keen hobbit ears to all the soft woodland noises about them. One thing he had noted, that in all the talk the name of Gollum had not once come up. He was glad, though he felt it was too much to hope that he would never hear it again. He soon became aware also that though they walked alone, there were many men close at hand. Not only Damrod and Malbrook flitted in and out of the shadows ahead, but others on either side, all making their swift, secret way to come appointed place. Once, looking suddenly back, as if some prickle of the skin told him that he was watched from behind. He thought he caught a brief glimpses of a small, dark shape. He opened his mouth to speak and shut it again. I'm not sure of it, he said to himself. And why should I remind him of the old villain if they choose to forget him? I wish I could. So they passed on until the woodlands grew thinner and the land began to fall more steeply. And then he turned aside again to the right and came quickly to a small river in a narrow gorge. It was the same stream that trickled far above out of the round pond, now grown to a swift torrent, leaping down over many stones in a deep cloven bed, overhung with ilex and dark boxwoods. Looking west, they could see, below them in a haze of light, lowlands and broad meads, and gleaming far off in the westering sun, the wide waters of the Andwin. Oh, here at last I must do you a discourtesy, said Faramir. I hope you will pardon it to one who has far made his orders. Give way to courtesy, as not to slay you or to bind you, but it is a command that no stranger, not even one of the Rohan, that flights with us shall see the path. We now go with open eyes. I once blindfolded you. As you will, said Frodo. Even the elves do likewise at need. And blindfolded, we crossed the borders of fair Lothlorien. Gimli the dwarf took it ill, but the hobbits endured it. It is no place so fair that I shall lead you, said Faramir, but I am glad that you will take this willingly and not by force. He called softly, and immediately Malbug and Damrod stepped out of the trees and came back to him. Blindfold these guests, said Faramir, securely, but not so as to discomfort them. Do not tie their hands. They will give their word not to try and see. I could trust them to shut their eyes of their own accord, but eyes will blink if the feet stumble. Lead them so they do not falter. With ring scarves, the two guards now bound up the hobbits' eyes and drew their hoods down almost to the mouths. And then quite quickly they took each one by the hand and went on their way. All that Frodo and Sam knew of this last mile of the road they learned from guessing in the dark. After a little they found that they were on a path descending steeply. Soon it grew so narrow that they went in single file, brushing a stony wall on either side. Their guards steered them from behind, with hands laying firmly on their shoulders. Now and again they came to rough places and were lifted from their feet for a while, and then set down again. As always, the noise of the running water was on their right hand, and it grew nearer and louder. At length they were halted. Quickly, Malbug and Damrod turned them about several times, and they lost all sense of direction. They climbed upwards a little. It seemed cold, and the noise of stream had become faint. Then they were picked up and carried down many steps, and round a corner. Suddenly, they heard the water again, loud now, rushing and splashing. All round them it seemed that they felt a fine rain on their hands and cheeks. At last, they were set on their feet once more. For a moment, they stood so, half fearful, blindfold, not knowing where they were, and no one spoke. Then came the voice of Faramir close behind. Let them see, he said. The scarves were removed and their hoods drawn back, and they blinked and gasped. They were on a wood floor of polished stone, the doorstep, as it were, of a rough-hewn gate of rock, opening dark behind them. But in front, a thin veil of water was hung, so near that Frodo could have put outreached arm into it. It faced westward. The level shafts of the setting sun behind beat upon it, and the red light were broken into many flickering beams of ever-changing color. It was as if they stood at the window of some elven tower, curtained with threaded jewels of silver and gold, and ruby, sapphire, amethyst, all kindled with an unconsuming fire. At least, by good chance, we came at the right hour to reward you for your patience, said Faramir. But this is but this is the window of the sunset. Henneth Anun, fairest of all the falls of Ithilien, land of many fountains. Few strangers have ever seen it, but there is no kingly hall behind to match it. Enter now and see. Even as he spoke, the sun sank, and the fire faded in the flowing water. They turned and passed under the low, forbidden arch. At once they found themselves in a rock chamber, wide and rough, with an uneven stooping roof. A few torches were kindled, and it cast a dim light on the glistening walls. Many men were already there. Others were still coming in by twos and threes, though a dark, narrow door on one side, as their eyes grew accustomed to the gloom of the hobbits, saw that the cave was larger than they guessed, and was filled with great store of arms and victuals. Well, here is our refuge, said Faramir. Not a place of great ease, but here you may pass the night in peace. It is dry at least, and there is food, though no fire. At one time, the water flowed down through this cave and out of the arch, but its course was changed further up by the gorge by workmen of old, and the stream sat down in a fall of doubled height over the rocks far above. All the ways into this grot were then sealed against the entry of water, or not else, or save all save one. But there are now but two ways out. That passage yonder, by which you entered blindfold, and through the window curtain into a deep bowl filled with knives of stone. Now rest a while until the evening meal is set. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop here. And let's see. On page 674. Wow. We have three more, well, let's see. 6 more pages, people. 6 more pages. 6 more pages. Left to this chapter of the window on the west. Chapter 5. Of book 4. Next one, after this one, after the next read, is called The Forbidden Pool. So, let's see. That may be a short one. I mean, a short one. But let's see. About 10 11 pages. 11. I think 12. But yeah, I'm gonna stop here on page 674, and I'll go ahead and see everyone later. And again, I hope everyone's having a wonderful holiday. And hope and pray for the people who's suffering from hill country disaster in Texas. Donate and contribute to whatever organization who is handling that situation. They're still searching. They're still cleaning up. I'm hoping and praying for those who are missing to be brought home. One way or the other, better alive than the latter, but it's better to bring them home either way. But everyone, please go ahead and have a nice evening and safe travels. Okay? And take care, further Tolkiens, and later.